All right, welcome back. So this week, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries announced that it is cutting back oil production. What could go wrong? Right now, the national average price of gas is at $3.60 a gallon. That's down roughly 52 cents from a year ago, but still way higher, more than $1 higher than it was under Trump. Some analysts are predicting that gas prices could remain in the $4 range once the cuts take effect, which could hit your wallet real hard once we get into the summer months when people like to go on vacation and drive around and, take boats out. Heaven forbid, do something fun. So how bad could it get, and what should the administration be doing about it? We've already drawn down the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So here to discuss, let's bring in Chief Economist and Global Strategist Peter Schiff. All right, Peter, this is kind of a big deal, and they did it willy-nilly without notifying anybody until the last minute.
Yeah, I think it's a very big deal. Also, it really flies in the face of U.S. policy, which the Fed is trying to bring down inflation. And clearly, this is complicating those efforts, especially given the fact that we're in the midst of another financial crisis. But not only is the supply of oil going to come down, but the supply of money, U.S. dollars used to buy oil, is going up. The Fed has already gone back to quantitative easing to bail out the banks. So we're printing more money, but we're not producing as much oil. And the world is starting to divest itself of U.S. dollars, which will put more downward pressure on the value of the dollar, which, of course, will put more upward pressure on the price of oil.
Right. But I love it when they use fancy terms like quantitative easing or QE. They say, oh, we're going to do some quantitative easing, folks. They're just printing money. That's all that is. But President Trump made energy independence part of his game. Like that was his shtick. And he was like, guys, we need to do this. Otherwise, we're going to get taken advantage of, and we're going to be at the whim of whoever is pumping the oil. I mean, can we wind and solarize our way out of this?
No, absolutely not. And it's not just energy independence. We need to be able to produce everything. We're dependent on the rest of the world for everything that we consume because we no longer have the industrial capacity that we once enjoyed because of the policies that have been pursued, for decades. We have too much regulation. We have too high taxes and too much government spending. And so we're not producing what Americans consume. We rely on the rest of the world. But the only reason we're able to do that is because the dollar is the reserve currency, and we may lose that privilege over the next several years, maybe even over the next few months. Who knows?
I mean, that is actually, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the show, but this is a huge thing. Let's talk about the BRICS countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. There's been a lot of talk, and they've been trying to do this for years, trade in gold or stock up in this or that, to try to get trade and replace the U.S. dollar for reserve currency. Even if they tack away 25% of global trade from the dollar, how much does that hurt us domestically?
Well, I think it's going to hurt substantially. And once they start moving in that direction, the pendulum is going to continue to swing. There are all sorts of reasons why the world should want to divest of dollars and no longer depend on the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. But we gave them another one. The Biden administration, in slapping those economic sanctions on Russia, really highlighted how dangerous it is to allow the United States to enjoy this privilege. And so we have scared the world into divesting of dollars, something they should have done anyway because it was in their economic interest to have done so, because it conveys a huge privilege to the United States that has to be paid for by the rest of the world, in that it enables Americans to live beyond our means. We're able to consume all sorts of stuff that we did not produce. And the only reason we could do that is because we could print money that cost us nothing, and our trading partners will accept that instead of actual goods. Well, if we lose that privilege, our standard of living is going to implode.
Peter, I have a minute left. So you walk in, you have 30 seconds with Joe Biden, and he's going to do exactly what you tell him to do. 30 seconds, what do you tell him to do to fix this?
Well, he needs to resign, but he also needs to take Kamala Harris along with him. But, what we need is free market capitalism. We don't need more government solutions to government-created problems. Government has to get out of the way so that free market capitalism can clean up the mess that government created.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's almost like somebody once said that government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the... Oh, it rhymed with Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Peter Schiff, we appreciate you being here, sir. Appreciate all your insight.
Take care.